Hey, what's going on guys? My name's Dessia, and today I'm going to give you guys a beginner's guide to the Culling, which just came out on Steam Early Access a couple days ago. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of the Culling, or maybe saw it on Twitch and wanted to check it out, it's essentially like the Hunger Games, or Battle Royale, or H1Z1 meets Rust, or if you somehow haven't managed to hear about any of those, it's a multiplayer game where 16 people are thrown into a giant jungle arena, and they have to use their wits and traps and all sorts of crazy weapons in a fight to the death to become the last man standing. If that sounds like a game that's right up your alley, well, you're in for a treat, because it's definitely one of the best free-for-all games I've played, but as fun as it does have a bit of a learning curve, so that's why I'm making this guide to get you guys up to speed on the main mechanics, so that you can get to wrecking some fools in no time. So with that, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so you load up the main game, and here you are at the menu with this naked guy and this giant play button. But before we hit that, we gotta come over to Loadout so we can pick our perks, our airdrop, and our outfit. Perks are basically going to be the same thing as in any other AAA game that ever comes out these days. They're just passive boosts that let you do what you like to do better. So you come over to melee weapons, you look at Maniac, reduce all damage taken by 25% while holding any axe. So if you like melee, maybe that's a perk you'd like to pick. Otherwise, you could do something like Stealthy, movement and crafting are nearly silent if you want to be more a ninja. This is just whatever fits your playstyle. For me, when I first started, I decided to go with Man Tracker and Leg Day in the utility box, and Big Bone in health and stamina, because I didn't expect to survive too long, so I just wanted to track someone down, punch them in the face, and figure out how the combat worked. You can copy that build too, but like I said, it was just for me to learn the ins and outs. So after a couple games, you'll figure out what you like, what you dislike, and you'll make a build based off that. Moving over to airdrops. So there's special locations throughout the jungle called landing pads, and if you activate these landing pads, a drone will fly over to you and give you a box full of goodies. Now you can choose what these goodies are using these loadouts, and I believe you guys only start off with Tough, Archer, Stalker, and Surprise Me. But I would highly recommend you start off with Surprise Me, because it will give you a random loadout that you might not have unlocked, and at the end of the game, if you don't have it unlocked, it will unlock it permanently for you in this menu. So as you can see, I have all of these choices, and I got them through Surprise Me, so just pick that for your first couple games. If you find something that you actually do really like, you could just switch to that, but otherwise, Surprise Me should be your default option. And then finally, our outfits, of course, the most important choice. Again, you're not going to have all of these options, but at the end of every match, you do unlock a piece of clothing. And if you win, I believe you unlock some of the more rare stuff, like the paintball mask or the cowboy hats. So just dress yourself in whatever you like. If you really want the highest chance of winning, I guess you could dress in all green, because it is pretty hard to see in the jungle when you're dressed in all green. So just pick whatever you like, and then hit that play button, and I'll see you guys in game. Pretty cool opening, right? Or at least I thought so. Alright, so first things first, you're going to want to look on the ground around you for rocks and branches. This is going to be an introduction to the game's crafting system. As you can see, I'm already making some pretty cool stuff. Put two rocks together and I get a knife, you add a branch to that and you'll get a spear. If you hit escape, you'll be able to see all the recipes. You can make some weapons right here, items, you can make armor, bandages, and even satchels to help you carry some stuff. To the left of the item, you see the recipe. Two rocks give me that knife, you add a branch to that knife and you get a spear, and it'll cost me 5 funk. Funk is going to be the currency for the game. You get it from killing people, you find it on the ground like I do right now, and you'll find it in lockers as well. Here I am interacting with it, you just press F and it'll get added to your total currency counter on the bottom left corner of your screen. So it's going to be used for a fee in crafting, it's going to be used to call down airdrops, it's going to be used to open certain crates that you find, and even to heal yourself at some vending machines. I'm not going to tell you what to craft exactly, because it's all going to depend on your playstyle. Maybe you want to make bandages and be more defensive, maybe you want to make a spear like I did and just go all out. It's up to you, so just go ahead and look at the recipes and see what you want. If you decide, hey, I want to save my funk and just not craft anything and save it for airdrop ASAP, I'd at least recommend you grab a rock or a branch to throw at somebody, you know, as a weapon, just in case you need it. After you've made your stuff, your next step is usually going to be to find a building. They're pretty big and usually pretty easy to spot. They're all over the jungle, so you're going to want to go inside and start looting the lockers and the cabinets and everything you can find for extra stuff to help you out. Now there's 3 special kinds of crates that are scattered throughout the jungle. There's going to be the green crates, you just open those up, press F, no requirement. Then you have the blue crates, those are going to cost you 50 funk, and they usually have some better items for you. And then red crates are going to be the rarest to find and the hardest to open as well. They're going to cost you an explosive, so you got to load it up with C4 and blow it up, or put a landmine next to it and blow it up as well. And they're going to have the best items generally. I don't open these too often, but when I do, I usually get tier 3 weapons, which are almost the best. There are some tier 4 weapons, but generally, these are going to have some of the better things for you in the game. Then the final note I want to add on this little introduction to looting is going to be the vending machines that you find on the front or the sides of every building. They're going to be the health machine and the recycling machine. The health machine is pretty straightforward. You just walk up to it, press F, and for every one funk that it takes from you, you will get a little bit of health, and you can do that until you either run out of funk or you hit your maximum HP. And the recycling machine is going to be also just as straightforward. You take your equipped item, you walk up to the machine, you press F, and it'll tell you how much funk it's going to give you, and once it's done casting, it'll take that item from you and give you some funk in return. This is going to be super useful because you'll find very quickly, especially if you don't take a backpack or you don't make a satchel, that you're going to have way too many items to carry around. So you just recycle them and get some use out of them at least, and then just carry around what you only really need. So that's going to be it for the looting section of this video, and now we're going to go right into combat. If you're anything like me, the melee combat's probably going to be the main focus of the game for you, and luckily it is pretty varied and it's pretty interesting, so we're going to jump right into that first. With the melee combat, there's going to be a bit of a rock, paper, scissors system going on. You have your regular melee hit, you smack the guy, you do some damage with the left click, and that's as simple as that. But you can also block with the right click. You just hold right click and you'll begin blocking, and if somebody hits you from the front while you're blocking, they'll be temporarily knocked back and stunned. Depending on the speed of your weapon, you can also counterattack after they've been stunned, and you can usually get around 2 free hits in before they can do anything back to you. So you can do that as a defense, but then also, because blocking all day would be pretty overpowered, they included a push with the Q button. So if you're up in somebody's face and they block in front of you, you can press Q, and as long as they're still blocking when you push it, they'll be knocked back, and again you can get like 2 free hits in because they'll be stunned again. So basically melee combat's going to revolve around those 3 things. If somebody pushes you while you're not blocking, then it moves your character back, but you're not stunned, so you can still hit them while they're pushing you. So melee is beaten out by block, block is beaten out by push, I guess you can say is beaten out by melee because you're not stunned and you can still do damage to them. And also, I guess you can throw something else in there. You can throw anything in your inventory, literally anything. You can throw your GPS, you can throw, or the man tracker, you can throw your sticks, rocks, whatever, by holding the middle mouse button and then aiming and throwing. You can also charge up your melee attacks by holding their left click until you see the charge bar fully filled up. And that's basically it for melee combat. As for ranged, I'm not going to say too much. I mean, it's as simple as point and shoot, right click to aim. I will mention, however, that range is pretty hard to get a hang of because people will get up in your face so quickly with the sprinting, and if you get hit while you have your ranged weapon out and you're aiming, you will actually be disarmed. You will drop that weapon and you'll be right into melee combat. So you really have to work on keeping your spacing really tight. You have to keep them way far away from you. You need to know how to kite really well if you're going to use ranged. And I think that's about it for combat. So with that, we'll jump right into the events that happen during the game and the environmental hazards that you might come across. In terms of the events that happen during the match, they're usually pretty random, and there's actually quite a few different ones that can happen, but when they do happen, you'll be notified by both the announcer and you'll get a screen notification as well letting you know that an event has started. Generally, they're going to happen in the center arena, but they can also happen at other locations. Some examples of some events might be like, there are 3 boxes that spawn in the middle, and 2 of them are booby traps with explosives, but one of them has really good loot. So you have to go over there, fight whoever else wants that stuff, and then figure out which box has the stuff that you might want. It's pretty dangerous, but I would say it's worth it, and if it's not worth it, it's at least fun, so definitely give it a shot, see if it's what you like. Otherwise you can just stay back and craft or do whatever you want instead while everyone's out there killing themselves. Then, in terms of environmental hazards, you're probably going to come across the poison vent the most because you don't have to craft it and it's free to use. You just walk up, you press F, and it will begin to beep, and that's your signal to run away because it will quickly explode into a giant cloud of poison that will damage anybody still inside. The main thing to note here is that it will go through building walls, so because there's so many of these scattered throughout the jungle and so many of them are nearby buildings, if you think somebody is camped inside, use it and you'll probably flush them out. Other than that, the only other thing that you need to take note of are the explosive barrels, which are pretty self-explanatory, they explode, and then the man-made traps. Most people usually put them through doorways, or they'll make it pretty obvious when they try to kite you through the jungle through them, so just keep an eye out for those as well. And with that, I think we've pretty much covered everything that you would need to know. the last real thing that I would want to say is just make sure you don't get too discouraged if you don't get up there in your first couple games. For me, to be one of the last couple people, it took me around 10 or 15 games, and if that sounds frustrating, it is, but with the help of this guide, and if you find a playstyle that really fits you, everything just kind of clicks, and once you start getting up there, it really becomes a lot of fun and really addicting, and you'll enjoy it a lot. So yeah, if you guys feel like I missed anything, be sure to let me know in the comments. This is my very first commentary, so of course, you know, let me know how the video went. Any constructive criticism is always nice, and as always, thank you for watching, guys, and good luck.